Welcome to USA Wrestling Weekly. I'm Todd Bailey filling in for Scott Casper. Here is this week's news and features from USA Wrestling, the national governing body of our sport. It was a busy week with the excitement of the Beat the Street Gala in New York City's historic Times Square. The final member of the U.S. Olympic freestyle team was determined in the Olympic trials wrestle-off at 132 pounds. The USA freestyle team also battled world champion Russia in an exciting dual meet. Hundreds of thousands of people passing through Times Square had the chance to see world-class wrestling up close and personal. For the second straight year, the event was a big success. We also marked the passing of two of wrestling's great leaders and legends, Bill Farrell and Lee Allen. We will talk more about these two great men later. Let's go back to Times Square and bring you all of the action. The U.S. Olympic team wrestle-off at 132 pounds featured three great American freestyle wrestlers, Shawn Bunch, Reese Humphrey, and Coleman Scott. Only one of these stars was going to emerge from New York as a member of the 2012 Olympic team. The wrestle-off started with a preliminary bout between 2011 U.S. World Team member Reese Humphrey and 2012 U.S. Olympic Team Trials champion Coleman Scott. On a warm and sunny afternoon, this match was the first action of the Beat the Streets Gala competition schedule. The bout was tense and very competitive between the two evenly matched athletes. Scott won the first period 1-0 after converting from the offensive position in the clinch. Humphrey won the second period 1-0 on a late takedown. In the third deciding period, Scott again won the ball draw, took the offensive position in the clinch, and converted the takedown for a 1-0 win. He earned the right to wrestle 2009 World Team member Shawn Bunch in the best-of-3 championship series. Less than an hour before the start of the final series, the rain fell in Times Square. By match time, however, the skies had cleared and it was perfect weather for championship wrestling. The first match of this epic battle went to Scott in 3 periods. Scott won the first period with a takedown from the clinch. Bunch scored the only point in the second period with a step out against Scott. The third period had a key exchange when Scott scored 2 points and earned an extra when Bunch's protest was denied. The period ended when Bunch exposed himself for 3 points, trying a flying desperation, giving Scott a 7-0 technical fall. Bout 2 went the other way, with Bunch battling back to win in 3 periods. Scott won the first period with a takedown with only seconds left in the period to force a 1-1 tie and win the tiebreaker. Bunch got the second period with a takedown from the offensive clinch position, and the third period 1-0 went to Bunch on a push-out. It all came down to the third match, with the Olympic berth up for grabs. Scott closed the door in 2 periods. He won the ball draw and finished a takedown from the clinch to win the first period. In the second period, in a wide-open exchange near the edge, Scott took Bunch to his back, going out of bounds. When Bunch protested and it went to the video, referees decided that Scott had scored a 5-point throw, which automatically ended the match. It was the first time that Scott had beaten Bunch in senior-level freestyle wrestling, and he did it twice on the same night to punch his ticket to London. Scott's coaches rushed to the mat to hug Scott in celebration. To the roar of the large crowd, Scott next did an emotional interview with NBC Sports Network, which is airing the show later this month. He was still very excited when interviewed by the press shortly after.
It's surreal right now. To reach my goal, I had to do this. I had to win, and that's being an Olympic champ. And you know, it was a big stage and a lot of people. And like I said, for the boring periods early, I hate to say it, but this morning I popped my rib out in my warm-up, and been wrestling with my rib out all day.
National coach Zeke Jones evaluates the exciting action in the 132-pound wrestle-off.
Good to have the team set. Good to have the team set. Now we know what we need to do to focus on, being a complete team, getting ready technically and tactically for London. And, Coleman Scott's on a roll. He's the guy. He can get the job done.
Held alongside the Olympic wrestle-off was a freestyle dual meet between the most successful wrestling nations in the world, the United States and Russia. Team USA had 4 Olympians in the lineup, and the Russians brought a talented young team ready for battle on the world's biggest stage in Times Square. Last year, the USA won the Times Square duel against Russia 5-2. This year, it went down to the final match to determine the winner. It started off with a Russian win as Artis Sana edged Olympian Sam Hazewinkel at 121 pounds. The U.S. got a big boost at 132 pounds from NCAA champion and junior world silver medalist Logan Stieber. He dropped the first period to Ahmed Shakiev, 1-3, then turned on the offense. Stieber dominated period 2, scoring takedowns and 2 turns for an impressive 7-0 technical fall. The deciding third period was a seesaw battle with both wrestlers taking leads. It went to the final seconds when Stieber scored a 2-point reversal to win the period and the match 5-4.
I didn't want to go on total defensive because I usually get in trouble, so I shouldn't have shot in, or if I should have shot in, I should have turned the corner more at the end. He did a great job rolling me, but I just really I don't know what I did. I just tried hard at the end. I came up with some rolls on from the bottom defense position, but really it was just me really trying hard.
The U.S. went on a run from there with 2 more wins. 2012 Olympian Jared Freyer won a 3-period battle over Zalaludin Kurbanaliyev at 145 pounds. Freyer won the first period with an exciting 5-point throw, which instantly wins the period. The Russian scored twice to win the second period 2-0. In a tight third period, a late Freyer go-behind takedown was the winning score, 1-0.
I knew once I got that 5, it was over, so that was good. Kind of lived up to my Twitter name, right? Air Freyer. Got some air on that one.
World champion Jordan Burroughs kept the momentum going with a dominant win at 163 pounds. He quickly put away Russia's third-ranked Kamel Malikov in 2 periods. In the first, Burroughs came out with a passion, scoring takedowns and turns in rapid fire, getting a fast 8-0 technical fall. The second period was also all Burroughs, an impressive 5-0 margin, which featured more takedowns. Burroughs extended his unbeaten streak in international freestyle wrestling over the last 2 years to 35 straight wins.
I wrestled a little slow that second period, came out firing the first. It was going to be hard to top that first. I think it was like a minute or something. So I'm trying to work on transitioning straight to turns, distance myself between these guys, and hopefully win an Olympic gold medal.
Russia reeled off 2 straight wins to tie the dual meet at 3-3. Junior world champion Andrei Valyev stopped American Keith Gavin in 2 periods at 185 pounds. Another junior world champion, Shamil Akhmedov, needed 3 periods to edge American J.D. Bergman at 211 pounds. It all went down to the heavyweights. 2009 world bronze medalist and 2012 Olympian Tervel Dalagnev ended the drama quickly. Dalagnev took Eduard Bazarov to his back in a scramble and scored a stunning pin in 25 seconds of the first period. Dalagnev's pin gave the host Americans an exciting 4-3 team victory.
I knew I was going to shoot to his ankles, and kind of got in a weird scramble, kind of got in like a college-style Peterson, and luckily he turned the wrong direction, so I was able to turn the right way, take him to his back and pin him, so it felt good.
National coach Zeke Jones had these thoughts about the big American win in front of the large crowd in Times Square.
When you're going into your final match in a dual meet with Tervel Dalagnev, you have a lot of confidence. But, he's got to get the job done, and he did, and really in a dramatic fashion. Jared Freyer just kept the pace, attacked his underhook, attacked his double underhook, and did a super job of a double overhook throw to win that period. And I think, he looked good. Jordan Burroughs dominant as ever. Striking that guy with hard doubles and singles and reshots. I thought that was good too. And, overall good performance.
It was a full day of wrestling excitement in Times Square in addition to the featured Olympic team wrestle-off and Russian duel. Many wrestling celebrities were on hand to support Team USA and see some great action. Earlier in the day, there were 7 Beat the Streets youth wrestling matches displaying talented young wrestlers, both boys and girls, on a variety of age levels. Many of the athletes were from the Beat the Streets programs in New York's 5 boroughs, while a few of the young competitors came from the growing Beat the Streets programs in Baltimore and Philadelphia. The young athletes had an opportunity of a lifetime to wrestle in front of the large Times Square crowd. In the evening, a women's freestyle exhibition match was held at 121 pounds as 2-time world team member Helen Maroulis emerged as the winner over talented Ashley Hudson in 2 periods, 4-0, 2-1. After the last match was finished in Times Square, the wrestling family moved to the Roseland Ballroom for the Beat the Streets Gala event. It was announced that over $1.4 million was raised for the Beat the Streets program this year during the gala. Beat the Streets leader Mike Novogratz, who also serves as the team leader for the U.S. Olympic freestyle team, introduced the 2012 U.S. Olympic freestyle team, including new member Coleman Scott. He presented the team with a special belt buckle as the wrestling supporters gave them a cheer. The Olympic team stayed on the stage as the Beat the Streets annual awards were presented to talented athletes and coaches in the program. Among those honored were the Wrestlers of the Year. The top Beat the Streets wrestler among the boys was Brooklyn International's Cheick Nadai, a runner-up at the New York State High School Championships. The top Beat the Streets girl wrestler was two-time Fargo national champion Rosemary Flores of Staten Island's Curtis High School. After the ceremonies, two bands provided high-quality entertainment as the wrestling family celebrated a great day for the sport while helping fund youth wrestling programs. We'll be right back. You're watching USA Wrestling Weekly.
ASICS has been there. They've been the lifeblood of the sport. It's been a long time, and they've been at the top of the game every year, forever. And I'll tell you what, now that I think about it, maybe that's where I've gotten my inspiration, because you know, I always want to be in the top of my game in wrestling, and I think that's where ASICS is and wants to be as well.
There comes a point in your life that determines who you are, whether you will lead or follow, whether you will fight or give in, whether you will win or lose, and what you will count as your victory.
Both of these guys are explosive, and it's not over. This is going to be a great match.
Sad news came to the wrestling community this week when wrestling legend Bill Farrell passed away at the age of 82 in Long Island, New York. Farrell was a true visionary and leader who made a major impact on wrestling. He was the head coach of the famous 1972 U.S. Olympic freestyle wrestling team, which included champions Dan Gable, Wayne Wells, and Ben Peterson, among 6 medalists. It was considered one of the greatest U.S. Olympic teams of all time. He was an athlete, coach, and administrator for the New York Athletic Club, one of the greatest wrestling clubs in the entire world. Farrell's leadership helped many athletes to achieve great things on the mat, including world and Olympic medals for our nation. He was also the top wrestling executive for ASICS America, building its wrestling business to become the leading company for wrestling shoes and products in the world. Farrell lived life with gusto and had friends all around the world. He was one of the original Marlboro Man, appearing in commercials because of his rugged appearance. When he was Olympic coach, Farrell appeared on The Tonight Show, wrestling with icon Johnny Carson on national television. He was involved in every aspect of wrestling, leading with skill and authority. Farrell had this to say when he received his Lifetime Achievement Award from USA Wrestling in 2007.
I want you people to know right off the bat that if there's any talking while I'm speaking, that I've got a few people on my side. About 8 Olympic champions and a couple world champions, so there'll be no talking.
Farrell's life is being celebrated with those who shared his wrestling journey during his remarkable life. USA Wrestling Executive Director Rich Bender had this to say about Farrell.
Well, I had the pleasure of knowing Bill from day one of my career at USA Wrestling some 25 years ago. And Bill Farrell is certainly one of the heroes in my life, and someone that really has, been the epitome of what's right with our sport. A true leader, a visionary in the sport of wrestling, obviously a background as a elite competitor, a great coach, and certainly a benefactor of our sport that few will ever match.
USA Wrestling National Teams Director Mitch Hull worked closely with Farrell as part of ASIC's sponsorship of USA Wrestling and got to know him very well. Hull saw the many qualities that made Farrell such a unique and amazing person.
Normally the highlight of the day was talking to Bill because he had such a wit about him. It was great to challenge him on the phone with some conversation. I don't think I ever came out on the plus side of that.
The other sad news came out of California with the passing of Olympic athlete and coach Lee Allen at the age of 77. Allen was one of the nation's most successful athletes and coaches during a long career of service to the sport. He competed in the Olympic Games twice, once in each of the Olympic styles. Allen was a member of the 1956 Olympic freestyle team at the Olympics in Melbourne, competing at 125.5 pounds. He also competed in the 1960 Olympic Games in Rome, Italy, placing 8th in Greco-Roman at 134.5 pounds. Allen was on the first U.S. team to compete in a World Championships, placing 6th at 136.5 pounds in freestyle at the 1961 World Championships in Yokohama, Japan. He was also the head coach of the 1980 U.S. Olympic Greco-Roman team, which did not compete in Moscow because of the U.S. government boycott of the Games. He also was head coach of the former U.S. Greco-Roman world teams, including the record-setting 1979 Greco World Team in San Diego, California. Allen served 32 years as the wrestling coach at Skyline College in San Bruno, California, then finished his coaching career as head coach for the women's team at Menlo College. He is considered a pioneer in the development of women's wrestling. Allen's coached his two daughters, Sarah Fulp Allen and Catherine Fulp Allen, to spots on the U.S. women's national team, as well as numerous national and international honors. USA Wrestling Executive Director Rich Bender talks about Allen's impact on wrestling.
Well, Lee was a true gentleman, and I think the thing about Lee that I'll remember most is his ability to work with his daughters. As that father-coach relationship, I think you probably did it better than maybe anybody ever, and just a true gentleman, somebody that our sport's really going to miss.
National women's coach Terry Steiner worked closely with Allen and has respect and admiration for him.
Lee Allen was one of those first people when I got involved that I was definitely in contact right away. He was always very enthusiastic and passionate about helping the sport of women's wrestling grow, not just at Menlo College, but around the country.
During the Beat the Streets Gala Week, the sport received tremendous public attention in the media. One of the highlights of the week came when the 2012 U.S. Olympic freestyle team had the opportunity to ring the closing bell at the New York Stock Exchange. Team leader Mike Novogratz, a major force in the financial industry, helped set this up for the team. The U.S. delegation took the subway to Wall Street and was given a tour of the historical New York Stock Exchange. In the famous boardroom of the exchange, Novogratz told the team about the importance of ringing the bell.
It's a neat place. This really is one of the cornerstones of American society and business, and they take things seriously here because it should be taken seriously. If the stock exchange goes down and they can't function, it literally cracks confidence globally in the USA.
The team was led onto the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, where they were able to pose for pictures and meet many of the brokers who worked there. A group of Olympic athletes and coaches were taken up onto the podium overlooking the exchange. World medalists Jordan Burroughs and Jake Herbert were selected to ring the closing bell, to the cheers of those on the floor. This image was shown on national television all around the world. After it was all over, Burroughs and Herbert talked about the honor of ringing the bell.
Jordan and I closed the market up high, just like we're going to close out the Olympic Games. I believe gold is up, right, Burroughs?
Indeed, gold's up right now.
Oh, yeah.
Was it fun, George?
I had a good time, man. Me and my boy Jake, greatest back-to-back duo in a lot of years, so we're hoping to win gold. Hey, I don't know if you've seen it, but if you follow both of us on Instagram or on Twitter, we took a back-to-back picture like some superheroes. I don't know, we're both superheroes. No sidekicks, we're both superheroes.
In New York, many major media outlets covered the exciting action and interviewed the U.S. athletes. Olympian and world champion Jordan Burroughs had the opportunity to appear on 2 major national morning shows on the day after the Beat the Streets Gala. His day started with a ride in a limousine to the set of CNN, where he was a featured guest on the CNN Early Show starting at 5:45 in the morning. He went through makeup and was brought out onto the CNN set, where he was involved in an extensive interview, which included photos and videos of Burroughs in action. Next up was another limo ride to the NBC Today Show set in Rockefeller Center. Burroughs was brought out of the famous Today Show green room to the set location outside, talked with NBC staff, then was interviewed by the host of the Today Show, Al Roker, Ann Curry, Lester Holt, and Natalie Morales, in front of the large crowd on hand. After the Burroughs interview, popular musician Chris Brown gave a rousing concert, which Burroughs was able to enjoy only a few feet away from the stage. We visited with Jordan Burroughs from the Today Show set.
It's awesome, man. I had a good time. Excited to be here. Got a lot of supporting cast around me that have all been here for me from the day one. So I'm excited about it and happy to see Chris Brown as well.
We'll be right back. You're watching USA Wrestling Weekly.
Each season, Liberty Mutual's Responsible Sports Community Grant Program awards $65,000 to youth sports organizations and school sports programs that demonstrate their commitment to responsibility in youth sports. Your organization could be one of our 20 winners this season. It's easy. Simply visit responsiblesports.com and click on the Community Grant Program. Administrators register their organization with the program, then reach out to rally parents, coaches, and team supporters to log on and review either the Responsible Sports Parenting or Responsible Coaching Guide. Then complete the quiz and showcase your mastery of the concepts. Every successfully passed quiz is worth a point that you can credit to your favorite youth sports organization or school sports program. Connect with friends, family, and neighbors to rally more support. The teams and schools with the most points at the end of the grant period win. It's that simple. Watch the leaderboard throughout the grant season, then rally more of your supporters to increase your totals. Liberty Mutual is committed to celebrating and championing youth sports and to financially supporting organizations that demonstrate their commitment to responsible sports. Join the movement and start earning points toward your community grant.
The USA Wrestling National Dual Meet Series has begun with the growing and popular Schoolboy National Duels held in Indianapolis, Indiana. Schoolboys are 13 and 14 years old, and top young talents from around the nation came to compete for their state teams in dual meet action. When it was over, the great state of Illinois came home with all the hardware, winning the team titles in both Greco-Roman and freestyle. In Greco-Roman, Illinois defeated Washington in the finals by a 53-20 score. The Illinois lightweights won 6 of the 7 bouts to start the duel, and the team never lost their lead. Winning their matches by pin were Marcus Pavlek, Pat Walker, Randy Menoweather, Jared Smith, Alan Stallings, and Romeo McKnight. Scoring tech falls were Austin Gomez and Kamal Bay. Pennsylvania Blue was third, defeating Team Wisconsin 45-30. Minnesota 1 placed fifth with a 44-32 win over Team Ohio. And Indiana Gold placed 7th, stopping Team Kansas 49-28. In freestyle, Illinois stopped Team Ohio in the finals by a 51-22 margin. Illinois won the first 7 matches in the dual meet to jump to a lead it never relinquished. Among the big wins in the 7-match streak was a pin by Marcus Pavlek and tech falls from Austin Gomez, Austin O'Connor, and Jonathan Doyle. Pennsylvania Blue was third with a 52-23 win over Washington. Placing 5th was Team New Jersey, a 47-25 winner over Team Wisconsin. Oklahoma Red finished 7th, stopping Minnesota 1 by a tight 37-36 final score. Let's take a look at the Schoolboy Duels all-tournament teams on a roll. The newest edition of USA Wrestler is now available to the general public as a digital edition online. The June 2012 edition has been posted. 2012 U.S. Olympian Sam Hazelwinkle is on the cover of this one. There are many in-depth features and photos from the U.S. Olympic team trials, along with many other great stories and photos. You only have to type in your email address and you will have free access to the entire June issue. This is the 11th issue of USA Wrestler, which has been provided free to the wrestling community in a digital format. You can see this digital edition by visiting themat.com or USA Wrestling's Facebook page. That's our show. Thanks for being with us. Scott Casber will be back next week.